Okay, this prize was started in the year 2009, that's the first round, and it's meant to promote and to showcase the amount of research that gets done on LGBT issues in Singapore. And I would like to thank Friday.com, who actually provided the first amount of seeding fund to get it going. Now, for the first round in 2009, we had 9 entries for that competition. This round, the entries have dropped to 5, but the judges and I still felt that we could continue with the competition to see to still get very good entries among them. The 5 entries were actually interesting. They cover a range of subjects from homosexuality and mega churches in Singapore, a very topical issue. It also looks at gay men and coming out at work, what are the factors behind gay men when they come out at work. It looks at lesbians in Singapore, arguing a case that the idea of coming out for lesbians in Singapore is not quite similar to the idea of coming out for lesbians living in the West. There is another essay that looked at the different kinds of queer activism in Singapore, ranging from theatre to PRU to Pink Dot. And then there is a legal essay looking at 377A and arguing the case that the Singapore government has always been using the argument that the values of this country doesn't make it possible to repeal the law. But this legal essay look at all the things that are happening in the past 5 years and basically debunk this whole argument, looking at Fiji, looking at various Asian countries and say that the values there are the values here more or less. How come they're able to repeal that law or not have that law? The entries were, before it went for judging, one of the entrants, one of the contestants decided to pull out, I don't know why. So we're down to judging 4 essays. The judges looked at them, deliberated, ranked them, and came to a decision that for this round we will not award the top Rascals Prize. Because on the whole, they don't think their standards were high enough. However, they recommended that 2 of the essays were worthy of special commendation prizes. And that's what we are doing for this second round. There are 2 special commendation prizes. And I want to announce that now. The first special commendation award goes to Shauna Tan. Shauna Tan is a Singaporean, a PhD student at the University of Sydney. Because she's working in Sydney, she's not here today to receive the award. I will want to read the judges. I want to get one of the judges who's here today to read the citation that he has written for Shauna. That's Dr. Terence, Dr. Loh Man Hao from National University of Singapore. Man Hao, you read the citation of Shauna.
Actually, instead of reading everything, I'm going to sort of talk it a little bit more. So as Russell mentioned, one of the essays that we liked a lot is this one, which is titled Lesbians in Singapore, Transnational Sexual Identities in a Post-Colonial State, and it's written by Shauna Tan. I think, academic essays sometimes have the reputation for being a little bit esoteric and difficult, but I think, the best essays really do ask important and relevant questions. So one of the things we liked about Tang's essay is that when you get down to it, it's asking very important questions, such as what does it actually mean to be out of the closet in Singapore, especially as a lesbian? Does being politically gay have the same import here as it would in the West? Right? So these are actually important questions. And the way Tang tries to answer these questions is by doing a kind of ethnography of queer women living in Singapore. So the paper actually interviews about 20 such women, and then she tries to relate the interviews to sort of broader sort of social and political theories about nationhood and statehood and so on. So the picture that Tang is able to paint with her study is very interesting. Right? So for example, and I suspect this actually might sound familiar to a lot of us, she notices that the lesbian subjects that she interviews, on the one hand, they are sort of technically not out to their family, in the sense of not having sort of disclosed their sexuality to the family. But on the other hand, a lot of times they behave as if they were out, right? So for example, they're able to bring their female partners to their home. Sometimes they actually move in together. So from this observation, Tang sort of makes the argument that sort of the shape of lesbian subjectivity in Singapore is actually a little bit different from, let's say, the Indonesian subjects that she compares them to, or the Western subjects. So I think the result is that this is a study that actually gets us to think a little bit about what the closet means. Because for Tang, the subjects seem to be sort of neither in nor out of the closet, right? Which means that actually the closet actually becomes a term that gets a little bit more complicated. So I think for this reason, the judges actually like this essay a lot, and so we are therefore happy to award it a special commendation prize.
Shauna is not able to hear today, but she's nominated someone to receive the award on her behalf, and that's Jin Chong from Sanyo. And Jin would like to read Shauna's acceptance statement. Jin, will come forward so that I can also this is the award. This is the award that we hand out for Rascals Prize with the PRU logo.
I've got a little note for Shauna, so if I start to slur, please. Very much my mind.
We've all been
We're all there.
Well, I need to say first, I didn't know what was in her note, so I realized I can thank myself inside the note, so. Read it. Shauna said that I would like to thank the Rascals Prize Organizing Committee for organizing and sponsoring the award. For a student of queer studies, oftentimes disheartened by the general indifference of academic centers towards queer research, the Rascals Prize initiative to support and encourage queer academic work is certainly a welcoming one. I would also like to thank the independent jury for awarding my paper the Special Commendation Prize. Queer studies in Singapore and elsewhere remain dominated by research on gay men with little or almost no data on lesbian practices. I hope the favor the judges have shown to an essay providing only an abstract glimpse into the lives of Singaporean lesbians will draw further research attention on female same-sex desires in Singapore. This essay, drawn from a larger research project, was certainly only possible with the women who participate in my study and shared their intimate stories with me. Special thanks also to Sayuni, whose key members were helpful in connecting me to a number of respondents and whose recent initiatives with CEDAW at the United Nations leaves me humbled and hopeful that the space for talking, writing, and understanding female non-normative sexualities and practices will, on the heel of these efforts, be expanded. Finally, I would like to maintain that this essay was also submitted as a book chapter in a proposed collection of Singapore queer essays edited by Audrey Yeh and June Pao, both of whom also submitted winning entries to the 2009 Rascals Prize. Thank you.
The second special commendation award goes to Eric Hao Richards. Eric is Taiwanese PhD student at Cardiff University Law School. And so he's also not able to be here tonight because he lives in Cardiff and works in Cardiff. The title of his essay is Gay and Straight or Great? Universal Human Rights in Singapore Penal Code Section 377A. To read, there's a citation prepared by one of the judges, Terence Low from the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies. Terence is not able to be here tonight, but in his place, another of our four judges, Dr. Brian Bergen-Oren from NTU, will read the citation in his place.
I'm not Terence Chong. We figured as much. This is the Rascals Prize Commendation Award for Eric Howe Richards. I'm going to read what Terence has written here. This paper takes a legal perspective of universal human rights to to explore the cultural obstacles in the way of approaching such human rights, often believed to be Western in orientation, and the hollowness of such cultural constructions. The paper is well written and furnished with a variety of case studies, and is best read as an introduction to the tensions between universal human rights, politics, and the notions of culture. Much of the discussion centers on the intersection between gay rights, human rights, and post-colonial politics. The numerous case studies cited from around the world demonstrate, one, the tensions between universality and locality and how they play out globally, and two, the varied and locally informed responses to these tensions. With this paper, the author has offered the reader an educated discussion of the human rights situation in Singapore. However, there is still much work to be done, such as contextualizing the local situation with broader global experiences and identifying patterns and trends which would present the reader a deeper understanding of the issue. Nevertheless, in light of the level of scholarship and research that the author has shown, the judges are very confident that this paper will be a springboard for more rigorous and investigative studies. We are delighted to award this paper the Rascals 2001 2011 Special Accommodation Prize.
Thank you. Eric has written a thank you statement, but since Eric is Taiwanese and friends here, he has requested that I read it out on his behalf. I shall read it out. It's a well-crafted speech. This is what Eric says. The summer of 2011 has its historical meaning in the global LGBT history. On the 17th of June, the United Nations passed a historical resolution condemning the hate crimes towards the LGBT community. A week later, New York State passed the Same-Sex Marriage Act. My partner Martin and I first heard the news when we were having dinner with Professor Douglas Sanders in Bangkok. We agreed this UN resolution is a tribute to David Kato in Uganda. David was a fellow gay rights activist. He was brutally murdered outside of his home in January 2011 after a successful lawsuit against a Christian tabloid calling for the execution of all lesbians and gays. Uganda's Penal Code, Section 145, made homosexual acts between consenting adults a crime. Like Singapore's Penal Code 3778, they both share the British colonial past. Today, homosexuality is still illegal in 76 countries and punishable by death in 5. That's right. A round-up announcement. The special commendation, the Rascals Prize, have been handed it out. It's a $2,000 award prize. Special commendation is on this occasion $500 per award. Now Eric has decided to donate the $500 back to the LGBT cause in Singapore. And finally, before I wrap up, a final word of thanks to all our 4 judges. You have met 2 of them, one from NTU, Manhao from NUS, there's Terence from the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies, and there is Dr. Lai Aek from Asia Research Institute, also in the US. It's very important that you have members of the academic community being very willing to step into the judges because they really make such prizes possible.